Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snarf Consortium podcast, or SCP. I'm your host, as always, this week, Snarf, also known as Peter. And we're going to be going over my week for what I've been getting up to in terms of content creation, news stories in the media that have caught my eye, as well as just what I've been doing. So, I want to start off with the content, the movies and the games that I've started playing, as usual. So, but I really want to start off with the movies, because I haven't seen shit in movies. So it's going to be real simple. I've seen exactly one thing that I want to talk about on this podcast, and that is Fallout Season 2, Episode 1. I don't have much to say other than it's real good Fallout still. It's real exciting, isn't it? After the end of Season 1 of Fallout, I was really excited for where we were going to be going into New Vegas. And I was also a little worried because this is a second season for a series that went really well. So to me, everything that I've seen going up until this point, that tells me that this will now have caught the eye of producers, and they're now going to want to get their mitts on everything and say, oh, we should be doing it this way. We should be doing it that way. You don't need to do it like they did in the games. You don't need to do it like they would do it to the source material. This is what sells. I was worried that we were going to lose the Fallout-ness of Fallout. That is not the case. If anything, it looks like the producers are still really holding true to their guns in Season 2 of Fallout on the on Amazon Prime, because it still feels like good Fallout. Like, it's really hard for me to say anything other than that, because that's exactly what it feels like. As for the characters, Season 2 starts off with getting us kind of up to speed with half the characters. I started a little bit of episode 2, but I didn't get through all of it. I'm going to probably finish episode 2 tonight. But episode 1, we meet with Lucy and the Ghoul, and we see them talk about, and Lucy is still very much, I would say, on par with the Fallout 3 protagonist, the lone wanderer in the wasteland. And she's not quite she's not quite ready to surrender that the world isn't a good place. She's not ready to acknowledge, I think, in earnest, just how bad of a place the wasteland is at times. It can be an interesting character dynamic. Then you have the Ghoul, which has fully bought into the concept that all of this is just trash, all of it's just terrible, and that's the way that things go. That's the way that life goes. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see. Well, we'll have to see where that goes. Well, what was really interesting to me, though, is that I think his name is Howard. I think that's the name of Lucy's dad, who she's actually going after. We get to see him be like the scumbag vault tech executive that he is. And it's like he just has no remorse for any human life, doesn't put any price on it, and is ready to just do whatever it takes to get the job done. And it's actually, I think he's the more interesting character at the moment so far. The little bit that I saw of episode 2, we saw a little bit of Maximus doing his stuff with the Brotherhood, and he seems bored. But again, I only got about halfway. I don't really want to spend too much time on episode 2. Still really enjoying what we saw of that, though. And that's all the movies that I saw this week. On to the games. I played 5 games and was the co-host on a 6th game. So let's get with the 6th game out. Xmas and I played through a little bit more of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Those episodes are going live on the channel right now, and they I think we're making through Metal Gear Peace Walker at a good clip. Getting into some frustrating parts, but not too frustrating. I think Peace Walker is kind of showing the hand of Kojima and his types of games, is that they're made in a very specific way, and he likes to reiterate a lot of things. And I think that Xmas is finally coming to those kinds of terms. I kind of knew it after, having played so much of the previous titles that he would make. I think Xmas is finally coming to terms like, oh, if it was said once, I should be prepared to hear like 4 other characters say the exact same thing 9 other times. And if that was true in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, that is definitely true in the second game that I played, which is Death Stranding 2. Getting more of that game. The biggest thing that I did has basically been 3 deliveries since the last time I talked about Death Stranding 2 on the podcast. I finally got to East Fort Knott City, and I connected that, and I went up to the the chronobiologist. Yeah, the chronobiologist up in the mountains. I took a lot of her stuff, and I accepted. So I took the initial things to connect to her into the Strand network, and then from her base, I thought I was accepting a specific type of bounty, which is, send something to the Ghost Hunter, get something for East Fort Knott, and then go do something for the meteorologist, or the meteorologist, the other person near the Northern Weather Observatory. So, not reading the delivery orders correctly, I had to pick up 6 XL size devices and trek them. I thought I was going to the meteorologist. No, I actually had to bring those 6 heavy devices back. So once I got to the meteorologist and saw that they're not accepting these orders, like, okay, what's going on here? And then I read it, and it's like, oh, you actually had to take those back to the chronobiologist. And that deflated me for a while. I didn't pick up Death Stranding 2 for a couple of days. And that's just because I wasn't reading stuff. What pissed me off, though, is that I was expecting to take a delivery, go activate the Ghost Hunter, and then activate his part and have access to a few things on the map. Because, when you connect things on the Strand network, on the Chiral network, it unlocks a lot of infrastructure for you to be able to use. No, the Ghost Hunter has a specific quest that I just finished where he wants you to cross this big-ass river, which isn't hard if you have a coffin, but you can't take cargo with you on the coffin for some stupid reason. And you have to go fight Higgs on a circuit, which is probably the worst vehicle combat I've experienced in a while. Boy, it's new. It was new, but it was not a breath of fresh air. It was a breath of like stagnant air. Yeah, that was unfortunate. And then to round out the Kojima corner, I started playing Metal Gear Solid Delta for the channel. So after a pretty big, healthy session of Peace Walker with Xmas, we got around to starting Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta and completed the Virtuous Mission. I have no intention of putting cutting that episode up right now for a while. There's a few other things that are going to hit the channel before that, and I want a couple of sessions. I want at least one good session or like 3 mini sessions with Delta before I have those episodes start rolling out. But what I can say is that the changes that have been made to Metal Gear Solid Delta from the original, from what I remember about the original, which is by far one of my more favorable games that I really enjoy. I like what they did with Delta. I kind of feel a little bit of frame hitchiness on the PlayStation 5. If I had a PS5 Pro, probably would still kind of be there, but not as bad. There's always that weird Unreal Engine 5 engine effect where you move your camera a little bit and then the textures have to kind of appear and they're like muddy and then they quickly clarify, but before they do, it's weird. But that's just part of the limitations of the hardware that I'm playing it on. And that is the Kojima Corner. 3 games of that? Yeah, 3 games of that. Next game that I want to talk about is I did a couple of game trials. I did a game trial for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I streamed that. I don't think I can use the recording that well, but I'll see if I can do anything about that. What I'm doing right now with the next 3 games I have, including Indiana Jones, are all game trials. I played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I played a Doom the Dark Ages game trial, and I played just before this podcast the Stellar Blade game trial. And recording those to put up on the channel, not as a LP, but as a small sampling of the game to see if it has any traction. And if it does, I might be inclined to turn it into an LP. But if it doesn't, it's just something for me to try and test out. So it's something new that I'm trying with the channel. But Indiana Jones, holy crap, that is a great game. It is a first-person kind of immersive sim thing. The first level was really simple. You're going through basically the very opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're in like South America, and you're going through the tunnels, and it's really, really well done and very faithful to the movies. You then go back to is he in Boston, Massachusetts, where his school that he teaches at as Dr. Jones. You adventure your way around there for certain reasons, and then the main big area that I'm in, where I stopped the game trial in the middle of, was the Vatican. Holy crap! Like walking around the Vatican and just interacting and doing the little puzzles and kind of getting into combat, but not really getting into combat, kind of doing the stealthy route with the immersive sim. It is such a great game. It makes you feel like you're Indiana Jones. I now see why everyone was so what's a good word for this? Was so praising of Troy Baker's Indiana Jones, of Harrison Ford, because he sounds like, if you had told me they used AI to de-age Harrison Ford and Harrison Ford himself was delivering these lines, I would have believed you. If you said that they had these lines from like weird transcripts that George Lucas, or not George Lucas, but who shot and directed Indiana Jones? Was it Lucas? Oh, I thought, for some reason, I think it's Lucasfilms that did Indiana Jones, but I know it can't be. Who's the other guy? It's not, I want to say George something, but it's not George R. R. Martin.
Spielberg.
It's not George Lucas. Spielberg, yeah. Spielberg. If you had told me that Spielberg wrote a script for Indiana Jones to be in the Vatican, and they found those old lines and just had Harrison Ford saying these, Troy Baker's doing an amazing job to make it sound like that. It's a positively just amazing job done. Really enjoying it. It's making me want to buy it. That's the problem. And I failed to get it on sale, so I'm not going to buy it. But when this game goes on another big sale, like I'm talking like 30% or more, it's going to definitely be on my radar of, I want to own this title, because it is that good of game. And that was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I really want to play more of that, and I'm waiting for it to go on sale again so I can pick it up. The second game that I did for the game trials was Doom the Dark Ages. This is currently on sale until January 22nd. Today is January 13th. So it's on sale for about another week and some change. Doom: The Dark Ages was... Everyone I've heard talk about it kept saying that Doom: The Dark Ages didn't feel like a good Doom game. I don't think they're right. I think it feels like a fine Doom game as long as you do some certain things. This is an unfortunate thing, in my opinion, for a Doom game, though, because Doom 2016 and, hell, going back to like Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 64, even Doom 3, all of those games had just an experience. You set it to your desired level of difficulty, and the game's going to feel a certain way, and that's the way the game plays. It was that same way with Doom 2016, and it was that same way with Doom Eternal. The Dark Ages says, let's give you all of the options to customize your experience to the way you want it. The problem is, I don't want to spend money on a game and then have to build it myself to the level of experience that I want. I want to buy a game and have it tailored. All right, tailored is wrong. I want to buy a game and I want it to already be done. I want to go into the game and have to meet the game to its standards. That's what you had to do with Doom 2016. That's what you had to do with the original Doom and Doom 2. That's what you had to do with Doom 64. And that's certainly what you have to do with Doom Eternal. I bounced off Doom Eternal because I wasn't enjoying the expectations that it was asking for me, but I was still respectful of it setting those expectations for what it wanted me to do. I understood it. Doom: The Dark Ages wants you to customize everything down to like the parry window timing, and it's just like that should be baked into your difficulty. If you want to say that you beat the game and then you have full options, great. But your first playthrough shouldn't be, well, is the game too hard for me, or is it too easy for me because of the difficulty, or is it because of the settings I tweaked? It's annoying to me. I would prefer to have a prefabricated experience put forth by the developers for what they think and what I'm honestly paying for, an experience, instead of having one to, especially for the price of it, for having an experience that I have to then tailor to myself. It's kind of annoying. But that said, Doom: The Dark Ages is certainly capable of doing some very interesting things. Unfortunately, I did not have much time with it. It was a rather short game trial of only 1 hour. I got through 2 levels, and the first level felt okay, and the second level felt all right up until the end when I adjusted one setting, and it wasn't for parry windows, it wasn't for shield health or this or that. It was sensitivity, it was look acceleration. I turned that shit down, and oh my god, the entire time that I was playing for the first 2 for those levels, I felt like I was swimming. No matter how much I increased the sensitivity, I felt like I couldn't aim. I felt like I was having severe lag, and it was look acceleration. As soon as I turned that bitch down to I think I kept it at 15% after turning it from 95% to 0, the game instantly felt a lot more responsive. So if you're looking to buy Doom: The Dark Ages or just try it, the first setting you should do is just eliminate the look acceleration. You do not need it. And the last game that I did really was Stellar Blade. I just finished doing it. I don't really have my thoughts together about it other than kind of what chat has been saying about it. It feels like Bayonetta at home. That's not a bad thing. I like Bayonetta. I like this kind of character action game. I actually really do enjoy this type of character action game. And I see a lot of potential for where Stellar Blade wants to take itself. And it's on sale right now, also until the 22nd. But I don't, after trying the hour and a half-ish of the 2-hour trial, by the way, that content I do fully intend to put out onto the YouTube channel. I I don't know if it's worth $40 to me. I feel like if it was under $35, this would be an instant buy. But I'm going to have to think a little bit before I splurge on this. Plus, I have so many other games right now that are just on my plate that I want to be doing. Like, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. I've got like 9 other things I want to try. So I don't know if I have time to put into Stellar Blade. And Stellar Blade feels like it's a giant game. I'm not sure I want to start a giant game when I have so many other games on my plate for 2026, especially when I want to be kind of gearing more towards newer games this year for what I cover, because I want to be able to hold the 2026 Game of the Year as presented by Snarf Consortium. Yeah. So that said, I like the character. The character is very nice to look at. It's so bad. The character, like, I don't know if the character has the strongest British, like, posh British accent I've heard in a while, and they look like a 6'7" Chinese lady. It's so weird. So it's Bayonetta at home mixed with Nier Automata because we're a robot apparently. We descended down to Earth and we're fighting weird demon flesh monster beings. And it's a weird mashup of games. And from hearing where this game goes, it gets real interesting. So it's always been on my list of things to kind of keep an eye out for. And that's not stopping anytime soon. That content should be going live on the channel. The Doom the Dark Ages Snarf Tries is going to go on the channel tomorrow. I already have those episodes cut and edited. I'm not going to do too much editing I'm just going to cut in 30-minute segments basically for all the Snarf Tries stuff. And those are going to be going live on the channel very, very soon. So look forward to that this week. More Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is coming out on the channel, as well as those. So let's go over into the news because there sure is a ton of it this week. So, okay, so let's kick off the top of the news story with a game that I am very excited about. Via Game Informer, Avowed is coming to the PlayStation 5 in February 17th for the price of $49.99 for the standard edition or $59.99 for the premium edition. This premium edition will include a digital art book, game soundtrack, 2 player armors, and 8 companion skins. The release on the PS5 will coincide with the anniversary update to the game, which was released last year originally on the Xbox Series platforms as well as PC. And all platforms will have the anniversary update, which will add the new game plus, new races to play as, a new weapon type, and photo mode, and more. I'm really excited. I tried Avowed originally on Game Pass when I had it last year, and I enjoyed what I tried. But the biggest thing about it was I was just like, I don't really like the Xbox 360 controller. I don't like the Xbox One controller, and I don't like the Xbox Series X controller. Something about it just feels weird in my hand. I've always been a PlayStation guy. So I just want to play this with a PlayStation controller, and I kind of want to play this on a PlayStation 5 because that's where I like my games. I don't care about my Xbox. I use the Xbox for very few games, and honestly, it's kind of a paperweight right now. So Avowed is one of those games where I was like, I just want to be able to play this on my PlayStation 5. I want to play it on my preferred console, and I'm happy because it's coming to it, and I didn't have to wait like 4 years for it to come to it. It's coming on next month. It's like a little over a month away. I'll be able to purchase Avowed. I don't think I would purchase it necessarily for full price, but like for $40, I could see myself picking up Avowed. I might do some content with Avowed actually in 2026. So Avowed might actually make a 2026 Game of the Year discussion. On to the next news story out of Eurogamer. This is talking about Larian Studios, makers of Divinity Original Sin 2, Divinity, and Baldur's Gate 3 fame, Sven Vanicki held an AMA on Reddit following the immense backlash about his comments on how Larian is making use of generative AI for their upcoming title, Divinity, and has stated, "To ensure there is no room for doubt," this is quoted, "we've decided to refrain from using Gen AI tools during concept art development." By the way, the whole controversy was based on Sven Vanicki coming out late last year in December after the Game Awards, saying that they are very looking forward to using generative AI for concept art, and had to wasn't strongly asking them, you know what that means, to use generative AI for their concept art. And then the more he explained it, it sounded like they were just using it to be like, "Hey, Gen AI, show me an apple." This is an example. It's like, "Show me an apple." So instead of just Googling what an apple looks like for reference, they had generative AI show them what an apple looks like for reference. So basically 7 more steps than it would take to just do it yourself. We continue with the quote. "That way there can be no discussion about the origin of the art." However, in that same AMA, he went on to say, "It is that we will not generate creative assets that end up in a game without being 100% sure about the origins of the training data and the consent of those who created the data. If we use generative AI models to create in-game assets, then it'll be trained on data we own." Boy, Sven, you're just digging a hole as quickly and as far down as you can to bury all goodwill that you gained after Baldur's Gate 3. I was talking about this with Xmas the other day, and it's like, there has to be dollar bills and like literal gold plates and gold coins falling out of this man's pockets for him to be talking about generative AI this much. After his big speech that you have to stop firing people, you need to keep your skills in the business, you need to keep matured game developers in the business. You can't keep firing them. You need to keep talent in your studio, and you have to keep that talent well trained. Why the big push for generative AI? That's just really weird. The lead writer at Larian, Adam Smith, joined this same AMA thread on Reddit and clarified that no generative AI clarified that the no Gen AI approach to art would also be true for writing, that they will be doing this for the new Divinity game. "We don't have any tech," this is a quote, "We don't have any text generation touching our dialogues, journal entries, or other writing in Divinity." Great, because the last thing that we would have wanted was that ChatGPT write part of your journal entries. This is just pissing away the goodwill. I mean, Larian was the baby darling of everyone after Baldur's Gate 3 became one of the biggest and most successful and feel-good stories out there. And now with Divinity, it seems like they are just trying as quickly as possible to speedrun their way to piss it out the door. Real good. Real good. Next news story is about Roblox, also out of Eurogamer. Roblox is finally rolling out their facial age verification, a technology that has been shown to be defeated by simple pictures, need to remind you, in an attempt to quell the general criticism of their game that is a cesspit of degenerates looking to take advantage of children. Depending on age verification, Roblox will now be limiting communication between adults and children that are younger than 16 years of age. Again, age verification that was implemented in, I believe, the UK last year and the year before, and China extensively, has been shown to be cracked and hacked in the same way that, I can get around it by just showing it a picture of Norman Reedus. Legitimately, if you wanted to get around age verification, you would just have to print out a photo of the actor Norman Reedus, hold it up in front of your camera, and it would say, oh yeah, you're like ancient. Go ahead. No age verification. No age restrictions for you. And this is about Roblox, the giant cesspit of a platform for children who are being preyed upon by the thousands by horrible, horrible human beings. Also, why the clarification of 16 and younger? That seems like a weird thing. They went on to say like if your age our age thing sees that you're below 9 years old, oh hey, you won't be able to do any chat communications. But between the ages of 9 and 16, you have limited chat communications between other kids that will be on that same age range. What's stopping those horrible, horrible monsters of human beings from you just using a picture of a child to get into those younger chats? If anything, they're making a whole corral ripe for the picking for these. Oh my God. It's just, instead of doing anything right about the problem they have, they're doing everything but to solve the problem. They're kicking it under the rug, and it's disgusting. Okay, on to the next news story. GameStop has been closing hundreds of their locations as the new year starts. This is happening the same week that they have previously announced that Mr. Ryan Cohen, the CEO of GameStop, is set to receive $35 billion in performance-based stock options. Per the board of directors of GameStop, this payout is acting as an incentive. And for Cohen to receive this payout, the board of directors have stated that GameStop itself would need to reach a market capitalization of $100 billion and $10 billion in
stock
cumulative
options,
performance.
So not cash, but definitely not great.
Yes. Stock options, not cash. So the wording of this entire thing, that as it was breaking, everyone thought was like, oh, you're closing hundreds of locations across the country as you're being paid $35 billion in cash by the board of directors. No. I read into this story, and it's actually it's not as cut and dry. He has to, for $35 billion in stock options, he has to grow the market cap of GameStop to $100 billion. The current market cap of GameStop is $9.5 billion. The board of directors are basically saying, make our company worth 10 times as much and we'll give you $35 billion in stock options. They're not giving him $35 billion. They're saying, make us worth 10 times as much and we'll give you a share of that. It's not amazing because hundreds of stores are closing. And I'm not a business major, so I don't know if your market cap would go up or go down by closing stores. I know that if you fire people, you see profits on the front end, and that makes stockholders happy because their shares are worth more technically.
Depends on how all it's done.
Yeah, it's real weird. But yeah, the award of these stock options are designed as a way to incentivize Mr. Cohen to achieve extraordinary growth. Quote from the stockholders or the board of directors. Sorry. It's just a shitty time to be at GameStop. It's a really shitty time to be at GameStop. Isn't Reggie Fils-Aimé at Game? No, Reggie Fils-Aimé was previously at GameStop and then jumped. Yeah, it's a weird time. It's a weird time, definitely. All right.
Where exactly do they expect the growth to come from? Especially when you're a retail business closing stores.
Yeah, the growth of their store by closing all your brick and mortar locations is real fun. In that same article, they kept going on and saying like GameStop tried to get into the NFT and crypto market. That lasted less than a year before they had to close their shops. close down those digital marketplaces. So there's only so many used games in a digital gaming market that GameStop can sell, and there isn't enough of a digital footprint or a physical footprint for GameStop to achieve a market cap of $100 billion. It's crazy. Speaking of market caps, let's go over to the Warner Brothers Discovery being bought out by Paramount Skydance. Or at least they would if Warner Brothers would get up off their ass and finally accept. Did you know that Paramount Skydance has offered Warner Brothers 8 deals, each of which have had to be rejected by the board of directors because it's just not worth it.
So Netflix is out?
All right, so let me go through this. This is from X, or previously Twitter. Warner Brothers Discovery WD has turned down Paramount Skydance's latest offer to purchase the company outright for $30 a share in an all-cash bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. This would be Paramount's 8th offer, as quoted from what they said. This is not more favorable to WD stockholders than the Netflix merger and continues to be inadequate. This is the board of directors addressing stockholders on a call or an open letter to them because of insufficient
they don't
value.
Want to sell to Paramount.
Yeah. Insufficient value, taking into account price and numerous risks, costs, and uncertainties. Warner Brothers Discovery said in their filing to the SEC. All right, this is part of the filing. Oh, man. So, every time, and I might be getting this wrong, but every time that Paramount sends an offer to Warner Brothers Discovery, Warner Brothers has to file with the SEC about if they're taking it or if they're not taking it for the SEC to approve. Right now, they are rejecting Paramount for the 8th time because what they're bidding is insufficient in comparison to other offers they have, aka Netflix. The board of Warner Brothers Discovery addressed the latest bid in their January 7th letter to shareholders and called into question Paramount's ability to even close this proposed deal. Paramount Skydance is a company worth $14 billion in market cap, attempting an acquisition that would require $94.65 billion in debt and equity financing, nearly 7 times their market cap. So not even real money they own, just what the shares say they are worth. It goes on. To effect the transaction, it intends to incur an extraordinary amount of debt, more than $50 billion, through arrangements with multiple financing partners. Meanwhile, Netflix is a company with a market cap of approximately $400 billion and has an estimated free cash flow exceeding $12 billion for 2026. So the board of directors at Warner Brothers is just saying, no, we are going to continue to reject Paramount's offer because A, it's not as good of an offer as Netflix, and B, we're not even sure they can put up the money. So I can't wait to see what comments the president has to say this time about this, because as we all know, President Donald Trump, the 55th, 56th, 54th president of the United States, has made comments that he thinks that it's a good deal for Paramount to buy Warner Brothers. And he likes that deal. He weighed in unfairly, and it's just like, it's not his place to do so in the first place. And it's hopefully doesn't affect those things. From what it sounds like, Warner Brothers board of directors is not liking these offers from Paramount Skydance, and if they have their way, they're not going to be selling to them. Good times. Rich people with all the money in the world. All right. AGDQ, or Awesome Games Done Quick 2026, comes to a close this year. This, by the way, is not the only thing that Games Done Quick does. Games Done Quick has like Summer Games Done Quicks, Awful Games Done Quicks, Games Done Quick Express. They have like 9 charity events throughout the year. But their first one, Awesome Games Done Quick 2026, has come to a close this year. The charity this time around was for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and they had multiple games done quickly, with the highlights being Resident Evil 2 Remake being played with just a Guitar Hero controller, a 70-person relay race of Mario 64, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 with an entire crowd of French-themed cosplayers behind them the entire time. One final speedrun, as done by ADEF, of Pokemon Emerald, becoming a bit of a thing for AGDQ to do. He completed the entirety of Pokemon Emerald in a staggering 3 hours, 12 minutes, 18 seconds. Awesome Games Done Quick raised a amazing $2.4 million for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So congratulations to Awesome Games Done Quick. You guys always do amazing charity work and provide some,
is a relay race
honestly,
for Mario Kart,
really,
not just a track
really cool
event?
things. Is relay race for the Mario Kart not just a track event? So the relay race is that you would have one person sit down, get a star in the game, and then they would swap to another person to then take control from that point and then go get the next star. And then every single person had a star to get, and it was 70 people. It was pretty cool. It was actually really cool.
I thought they were actually running.
No, they were not actually running. Just a relay race with a controller, which you really hope people were either wearing gloves with that controller or had wet wipes and time to wipe it down. All right, on to some more interesting things of just poking the bear. Palworld is in the news again, and they're going full parody of Pokemon because, of course, they would. They're officially launching a trading card game for Palworld, set to release July 30th of 2026. I think Palworld is just seeing how close they can be without being sued. They got there, and then the more they're being sued by Nintendo, the more they're finding out, oh, Nintendo can't say shit. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Just as long as, they're legally distinct. And last time I checked, Pokemon doesn't own the concept of a trading card game, a TCG. So why wouldn't Palworld do it? This is also on the heels of Palworld announcing certain release of games, such as what was it? Palworld is also doing a mining game with their pals to kind of ape on the Pokemon version of it, because Pokemon really announced a couple of new games for themselves, at least Nintendo did, and they're trying different genres with Pokemon, and Palworld was like within the same month or so said, oh yeah, we're doing one of those too. So Palworld has it out for Pokemon, and honestly, good for them. Let there be some competition. Let there be a fire finally under Nintendo's ass to develop more and better and more interesting games for Pokemon, for that IP. If they're not going to do anything with it, someone else is going to make their own and be better at it. And Palworld, I'm not saying is better. I'm not saying is the same, but they are sure have a gun out for Pokemon. In other Pokemon news, Lego is teaming up with Pokemon to bring out multiple high-detailed Lego sets for the Pokemon's 30th anniversary. The first of these sets are going to be Pikachu, Eevee, and a giant collection of Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. These are set to start releasing on February 27th of this year. These Lego sets are not cheap, though, or small. Pikachu and a Pokeball are set to cost $199 and include 2,050 pieces. Eevee will be on the cheapest side at $59 and include 567 pieces. And the largest set is a complete trio of the fully evolved versions of Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise all together, and will cost $649 and include 6,838 pieces. Also available is a set that is of the Kanto region badges, only available to those that pre-order the largest Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise trio combo set. And this Kanto badge region set is only available to members of the LEGO Insiders program, and will require you to spend 2,500 LEGO Insider points to acquire it for pre-orders only. And then, because we live in the year of 2026 and things can't be nice, scalpers have come forth to ruin everyone's day about these Pokemon Lego sets. Boy! So scalpers have already pre-ordered practically all of the Venusaur, Bulbasaur, and Charizard combo sets, and they are selling the badges alone for $400. This is a set that you can't even buy from Lego. This isn't a retail price. This is something that is a pre-order bonus for you. And if you didn't want to do, they're selling it for $400. Just 8 badges that you build in Lego. They're selling that to you for $400 on eBay. And if you want to buy the badges along with the giant statue of Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur, they want to charge you around $1,200. Yeah. We can't have anything nice. Scalpers don't let us have anything nice. Good times. Okay. Last 2 news stories actually include back to Stellar Blade. Shift Up, the developers of Stellar Blade out of Korea, South Korea, as I've been told, this stream. They are giving all of their employees AirPod Maxes, paid time off, and just $3,500 in cash as a bonus. This apparently is not anything new for the company. They routinely give their staff large gifts like this for good performance. So, but because of the success of Stellar Blade, they said, give it to you all. And unfortunately, Shift Up has also been in the news, not just because of their not just because of the gifts that they're giving to their employees, but they're saying that they are looking to fully embrace the use of generative AI in their games. And the reason being is that they are saying that they are a small studio, and when they have to compete with larger studios like the likes of those in China, what they're saying is that they don't have the manpower. Where they are a studio of 100 to 150 people, China can throw thousands of people at the same project, and they just don't have the manpower to keep up. So they're looking to use generative AI. And they're saying that they're not looking to fire anyone with the adoption of these AI tools. But with AI tools, one person will be able to do the job of 100. If the implementation of AI has taught us anything, though, I would like to think, is that the implementation of AI will put the workload of one person down to that of half a person. Because you're going to be spending just as much time fixing the AI bullshit as you would be creating anything. Yeah. Good times. And then Steam machines have been leaked on the Czech retailer's website, and we have a base price for what we believe the Steam machines will be. The standard 512 gigabyte model is set to retail for $950 and a 2 terabyte model is set to retail for around $1,070. I heard in some places this number would be closer to like $1,200. Some people are saying it's $1,000. Some people were saying that tax was involved with the check site, so you need to take taxes out of it. But they're saying that basically a Steam machine in the US is the talk about it now is now saying like it's probably going to be about $900 in the US for the base 512 gigabyte Steam machine. And if you want the 2 terabyte or the 1 terabyte model, you're going to be easily paying $1,000 to $1,200 or up. The RAM shortage crisis and everything is affecting this price of Steam machines. And let's not forget that Steam machines are not any more powerful than a base PS5 or original Xbox Series X. And it is nearly twice the price. But that's none of my business. I was never interested in getting a Steam machine. I don't see any point of or how it would ease my setup. I have a decent PC right now, which is old, but can still get the job done. And I'm not unhappy with it. And I don't feel the need to pay $1,000 for a relatively small box to play my PC games on my TV because I just have my gaming PC already hooked up to my TV, and I can do that with a simple click of the button. But for those that aren't, I know that people were hoping that Steam machines would be relatively easily priced for the open market. It does not seem that is going to be it. Unfortunate for some. There is no price or any news about the other Steam products like the Steam controller or the Steam VR headset, the new VR headset. But it is 2026, and they said that Valve themselves have said that these devices will be releasing sometime here. So we hopefully should hear something about them in the first or second quarters. So that is it for the news. Let's go over to emails. If you have an email or a question that you want to send to the podcast for me to read on air, you can do that over at snarfpod@gmail.com. That email address is snarfpod@gmail.com. Let's go look over at those emails right now. Nope. All trash. All right. No emails this week. I'm not saying that your emails are trash. I'm just saying I got no emails, and all I got is literal spam. So, no emails this week. For the channel, again, I'm gonna be having Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. That series is continuing to go live on the channel. Doom the Dark Ages is set to go live on the channel on the 14th and the 15th. That is only a 2-part series. And then I'm going to chop up Stellar Blade and maybe do something with Indiana Jones. Maybe not. We'll see how that goes. But look forward to those things coming to the channel this week. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week on... When is that? When's the next podcast going to be? Next podcast will be January 20th. Hope to see you guys here at that time. And if I'm not, have a great one.